He always believed he was irreplaceable. 30 years of experience, countless promotions, a name people respected, a reputation that stood taller than his job title. He wasn't just an employee, he was the guy you went to when things fell apart. The fixer, the decision maker, the human solution. So when the company announced the integration of AI systems, he didn't blink. "Let the machines handle the grunt work," he chuckled to his colleague. "They'll never touch what I do." He truly believed that. Until the first ripple hit. It started small. A report he usually spent hours preparing was suddenly generated in minutes. Cleaner, more detailed, with predictive insights he hadn't even considered. Then came the client emails. Drafted, sent, followed up. All by an AI assistant. Faster, slicker, impossibly polite. Next, the monthly strategy review. For the first time in his career, no one asked for his slides. "We've run the numbers through the new model," his manager said. "It's already optimized the plan. Just review and sign off." His palms were cold. Still, he reassured himself. They need the human touch, the judgment, the nuance. But then came the project. A flagship initiative. One he had envisioned, proposed, and nurtured. Only this time, he wasn't leading it. He wasn't even on the team. The entire operation had been handed over to a task force, powered by AI coordination, data-driven creativity, and minimal human supervision. He watched from the sidelines as the system generated market simulations, built prototypes, and tested user reactions. All in real time. The project was a roaring success, and no one asked for his input. Something broke inside him. That night, he didn't sleep. The glow of his screen felt colder than ever. Headlines screamed of progress, but all he felt was silence. A deep, echoing question. Where do I fit in now? He tried to contribute, volunteered to oversee new projects, offered feedback on AI-generated strategies. But slowly, responses became delayed, then ignored. His role, once central, now seemed ornamental. He stopped talking in meetings. Fewer emails landed in his inbox. Fewer people stopped by his desk. He walked through the office like a ghost, until one day he was called in. "We value your experience," HR said, "but we're restructuring." The words hit harder than he imagined. Not because he was let go, but because a part of him, the part that defined his identity, had already been quietly replaced. He went home that night and sat in his car for over an hour, just staring at the dashboard. Number? For the first time in his life, he felt invisible, unneeded, unseen. He questioned everything. Was it all for nothing? The years, the sacrifices, the long nights and missed dinners? He didn't eat. He didn't speak. Just lay in bed staring at the ceiling, his mind spiraling into a silence louder than any noise. He remembered the sound of his kids' laughter, once muffled by closed office doors and endless meetings. He remembered his wife asking over countless dinners if he'd ever slow down, and he remembered saying, "I can't afford to." Now he had nothing but time. He packed his things. No send-off party, no farewell cake. Just a man leaving behind a building that had outgrown him. The world outside felt different, brighter but colder. For weeks he wandered through his days like a ghost. Coffee shops, parks, long walks with no destination. The world moved fast. AI headlines, new startups, viral innovations. And he, once part of the engine, now watched it from the sidewalk. He noticed something else too. The quiet hostility beneath the sleek interfaces, the subtle push away from human oversight. automated systems that rejected manual edits, bots that flagged his suggestions as redundant, job portals that auto-screened resumes older than 5 years. Even his social media feed, once filled with colleagues and discussions, now echoed with machine praise and algorithmically boosted narratives of a future that seemed to have no room for flesh and blood. He thought about applying elsewhere, but the roles were different now. Junior managers reported to dashboards, not directors. Strategy came from models, not meetings. He sat in job interviews where younger recruiters asked if he was comfortable working alongside AI-driven systems. He'd nod, smile, say all the right things. But inside a storm brewed. Each rejection felt less like a closed door and more like a mirror. He wasn't outdated, he was untranslatable. A relic from an age where empathy wasn't measured by response time and wisdom wasn't scanned into data points. He started to believe the system didn't just forget him, it actively removed him. He was not alone. Across the world, artists, writers, and thinkers were feeling the same erasure. One day, he visited a local gallery out of nostalgia. The walls were lined with artworks. None of them had signatures. Every piece had been generated by neural nets trained on centuries of human expression. Brush strokes simulated, emotions replicated. But not one of them had a soul. And there in the corner sat a man sketching by hand, charcoal-stained fingers, wrinkled eyes. The artist glanced up and said, "They call us the last of our kind." It struck him. The fight wasn't just about work, it was about meaning. He began painting again, something he hadn't done in decades. Not for profit, not for likes, just to feel. He poured his confusion, his grief, his resilience onto canvas. The rawness was imperfect, but it was alive. He hosted a small show in the community center. Few came, but those who did wept. "I'd forgotten what it felt like to connect," one whispered. Word spread, not fast, but enough. More came. More painted, more remembered. He taught others, not technique, but presence. How to sit with pain. How to express without algorithms. How to embrace flaws. And amid the coded chaos of society, these quiet moments bloomed like rebellion. He started a movement. The last human artist. No digital tools, no filters, just hands, hearts, and humanity. They weren't against technology. They were for remembrance, for the sacredness of emotion, for the stories that data couldn't tell, for the silence between notes that only a human ear could hear. In the silence of that small room, with every nod and every thoughtful question, he felt it again. Not relevance, but impact. He smiled. This was his new job. And it couldn't be automated. It could only be lived and painted.